been 27 years since William Allen was imprisoned, then convicted of felony murder for a killing that everyone agrees he was present for but did not commit. And last month, he finally got a step closer to freedom when the Massachusetts Parole Board unanimously voted to recommend his life sentence be commuted, with support from the DA who prosecuted him and much of the victim's family. But the final decision still rests in the hands of the governor. In January of '94, Allen and his friend, Rolando Perry, both armed with knives, went to the home of a man named Purvis Bester that was in Brockton. They were planning to rob him, but Perry stabbed Bester several times, killing him. Both men were arrested shortly after, and although Allen had been in another room during the stabbing and did not participate, they were both charged with murder under state law at the time. Perry pled guilty to second-degree murder charges and was released on parole more than a decade ago. But Allen refused the plea deal, was convicted of first-degree murder under existing law, and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. He was 20 years old when he was jailed for the crime. He's now 47, and obviously he spent more than half of his life behind bars as a result of that law. As his co-counsel, retired Massachusetts Supreme Court Justice Robert Cordy told me on this show back in June.
Mr. Allen was a young man, couldn't come to grips with the fact that the law then made him as culpable because he was an accomplice in a felony. And does it make any sense looking back on it? In this case, no. But hopefully the commutation process will help right the wrong.
As I said, although the board has since voted unanimously in support of commutation in this case, there's not a whole lot of precedent for it actually happening. The last time a Massachusetts governor ordered a commutation was 2015 under my last guest tonight, Governor Patrick. And before that, there hadn't been one since 1997. But among the many pushing for it this time around is Patriots safety Devin McCourty, who's been an outspoken advocate for criminal justice reform on a whole host of issues for years. He joins me now. Devin, it's good to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you having me on today.
How'd you get involved in the effort to free William Allen to begin with?
Yeah, I think like you just mentioned, over the last few years, just being involved in a bunch of different things. A friend of mine reached out and told me about William's case. And then it organically came from an opportunity to jump on a Zoom call with one of his lawyers, Chris, Janine, who's a director at MCAN, and brother William Dickerson from Interfaith in Brockton, where we all just talked. They told me a little bit about William, and everything kind of took off from there.
You've spoken to him more than just that first time. Could you tell us a little bit about those conversations and about the man you met on those Zoom calls? Yeah,
I would say the first conversation just stuck out to me because, you know, I think here we are, you know, it's 2020, and I was able to Zoom into a prison and get the opportunity to talk to him. And we spent, you know, more than an hour, and we really only talked about his vision and things he wanted to do. We talked about his childhood. And then from there on, we got another opportunity to catch up, you know, talking about family, talking about how he was doing. And I'm actually scheduled to talk to him later this week. And for me, it's just been awesome to get to know him, you know, just fighting for him out here, but also getting to know him as a person.
You know, at the June hearing, here's part of what William Allen had to say. He said, "I'm not asking you to forget what I've done. I just want you to know that's not who I am today. And if I'm given the chance at freedom, I want to make good footprints for children of color to follow, because I don't want them to follow the same footprints I did." Does that ring true to you from your relationship with William Allen?
Yeah, that's all he spoke about doing, getting out of prison. I asked him that question as we wrapped up our first session talking, and asked him what he wanted to do when he got out. And that's the only thing he spoke about, helping kids not make the same mistake he made, and steering them clear of any trouble, and staying focused on the goals he set for himself before choosing the wrong path.
Why do you think that, well, I'm sure you were approached by a lot of people in the criminal justice system who believe they were done wrong or deserve a second chance. Why do you think Allen in particular stood out to you, Devin?
I just think some things just kind of align and match up, not due to anything I've done or what William's done, but I think just at the point in my life and the people who reached out, it was an instant connection. And I think, like you said, it's tough sometimes with balancing the different duties and responsibilities you have, but then also taking on and trying to help other people out. But I feel like God aligned me with William's case, and, I think it's been a perfect match of trying to help him and figure out what's the best way to see him free someday.
I know you wrote a letter to the governor. Why should William Allen be a free man, Devin McCourty?
I think one of the biggest things is he has so much to give to society and to our community. I think we have a man who's been locked away for 27 years, and all he's done while being inside is help others. Being at Bridgewater State Hospital and helping different inmates and different people who are going through different mental issues. And even when I got involved, had a correctional officer reach out by herself, just chose to DM me and tell me a story about how William saved her one time. And I think that speaks volumes of a man's character who's locked inside, really with no way of seeing freedom, life without the possibility of parole, and all he did was give his life to other people. Those are the type of people we need out in the community making a difference right now.
I want to read to you from Governor Baker's own clemency guidelines. These were released in the beginning of February of 2020. It said, it is intended to serve as a strong motivation for confined persons to utilize available resources for self-development and self-improvement, and as an incentive for them to become law-abiding citizens and return to society. I mean, from what I know from you and Justice Cordy about William Allen, he fits that, but it seems to me, unless the governor starts granting commutation to some people, the incentive that his own guidelines talk about disappear. There isn't that same incentive for people who are confined to act in the way he wants them to act if there isn't some possible reward at the end of time.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And I think the governor has a great team of people. I look at District Attorney Cruz, who has recommended William be free. I look at the Board of Pardons recommended. So he has people, not me, who's not very educated on all of this, just being a helper. He has the right people to lend on, and I think he will make the right decision and send William home.
And I want to make clear from what I've read and from having spoken again to Justice Cordy a few months ago, Allen takes full responsibility. This is not one of these things where he said, I wasn't there, I wasn't responsible, that sort of thing. And it just seems to me that when the guy who everybody acknowledges was the actual killer has been out of jail for more than a decade, and the man who didn't commit the murder is potentially in jail for the rest of his life, something's wrong with this picture, is there not, even if Allen hadn't reformed and turned his life around?
Yeah, and I think that's why clemency is available. That's why it's there for cases like this, where as we look back at it 27 years later, and the idea of joint venture felony and a law like that, being able to right that wrong is why clemency exists. And I think, like you just said, this is a perfect opportunity to right that wrong and to make something that, has been so horrific for a lot of different people involved, to have some type of hope and some type of better ending than being stuck in prison for the rest of William's life.
Even though I think any student of any of this knows, or even a casual observer knows, that the color of one's skin is a great determinant of how serious any charges are against an individual, how long someone's sentence is. Neither Justice Cordy nor you so far have said you think race has been an issue in this matter at all. Is that because you think it is not?
No, I think race is in the fabric of our country. It's always been there. Laws and policies have been created through the years that maintain and is still there. And, I think through these last couple of years and over time, some of those laws and policies have tried to be remedied. But I think, for a lot of people who fight these fights and talk criminal justice, we understand that that's already inherently there. And I feel like for a lot of people who are working on the ground, their job is to try to fix that, not always talking about it, but just going about correcting those things and trying to make a difference that way.
You know, I read, Devin, that you solicited assistance, a sign-on to these letters from a number of your teammates, coaches, including the head coach Belichick, and a couple of dozen did sign on. Was it a hard sell? Did they do it because you asked, or did they do it because they were convinced this was a just outcome for William Allen?
What I loved about the whole process, I didn't ask. We every Monday we have different meetings, social justice meetings, where we try to educate ourselves as a team on things that go on. And we decided, you know, a couple of weeks ago that I would get to present William Allen's case and what was going on. And, you know, at the end of all these meetings, we try to talk about, you know, what people can do to make a difference or to help out. And I just spoke about how I wrote a letter to Governor Baker and how, you know, a couple thousand people did that. And the coaches were like, all right, we're on. This is what we want to do. And some players, everyone wanted to get involved. And I think that was the best thing about presenting that was over these last couple of years, our team has gone from not really being aware to fully being involved and now being a part of the difference and making changes.
That is really good to hear. You know, before you go, I know you've heard this by thousands of times, that people like you, athletes, performers, should shut up and sing, shut up and dribble, shut up and play ball. What do you say to those people?
I say that makes no sense. I think anybody with any type of influence has a platform and has an opportunity to make a difference, whether that's in charity work and trying to find cures to cancer or different diseases like that, whether that's speaking up for children who don't get the same resources when it comes to education, or speaking out for poverty, homelessness. There's so many things that we can make a difference in when we see it when natural disasters happen. So why not try to make a difference in something that has been inherently wrong in our country for so long, and trying to help those who, you know, were born with less right away. And I think athletes and entertainers a lot of times have gone through their own struggles and create different passions inside of them. And I think it's what makes our country so beautiful and so great, is that we have people who care about more than just themselves and what they have and what they can do. They want to make a difference for the future generations that come after them. And I'm just happy to be a part of that and got an opportunity to learn from a lot of other men and women.
Well, you are making a difference. Devin McCourty, thanks so much for your time, and good luck with this William Allen matter. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys always being involved.